DowDuPont has risen nearly 4% in the past month. The options market says there's more upside ahead. Pete Najarian joining us now from Minneapolis for more with that unusual activity. Pete, do that first, and then we'll do an update.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, they recently reported their earnings as well, Scott, and they were very strong. And the stock is definitely off of what the low end was, but it's still down year to date. So even though it is up, as you said, in the last month over 3%, I think that there's more upside. Somebody else does too, because the October 70 calls were purchased today. 5,500 of those were bought at a price between 160 and 170. And that's just telling you that the size is back. They expect to see this stock to go back as well. That report was great. The raw materials, not as big of an issue for DowDuPont as a lot of people thought, based upon what the CEO is telling everybody. And so because of that, it seems like that and the combination of spins coming in the next few, quarters and so forth, this is going to be a very interesting stock. I think October gives you a little bit of time for this to play out. I bought along as well, so I'm going to be in these calls for at least the next month and a half, waiting to see what happens there.
I want to get a quick comment from Steph on that one. What do you think?
You know what was amazing last week? They had a great quarter. They beat. They kind of raised. It was a little different mix in terms of what they raised, but they raised, and the stock was down 3% on the day. It was so frustrating. Yeah. I actually added on the news because I do believe, like Pete is saying, they eventually are going to split up this company. And as long as Breen is in there, Ed Breen is in there as CEO or even chairman, I think that this story is really just beginning. So maybe it sounds like we have a little time, I guess, because it looks like October, but according to Pete, but I'm very patient on it.
Pete, the update, it needs to come with lunch because you owe us lunch now based on this one.
That was a pretty good one. That put smiles on a lot of people's faces with our guys on the blog and John and everybody else. But on Friday, just Friday, in Twilio, the upside call buying of the January 70 calls, Scott, they bought 5,000 of these. They were paying in the ballpark of $5.75. That's pretty expensive for the options. But stock was trading around 61. When you get a reaction like they're getting today, those stocks traded over $12 today. So pretty nice, pretty short term. I think if somebody's there, you absolutely do exit. I think you're going to probably see some sort of a pullback. But discipline tells me you get a big hit like this, you want to start getting out of that thing, at least some, if not all, just based upon this rapid move to the upside. But an incredible number, and take a look at the reaction of the stock itself. Stock up pretty nice. Those options well more than doubled today.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, your brother buys pizza when he hits it. But what do you got? What are you doing for
us?
I'm
going I'll be there tomorrow. I'm going to bring you guys sushi. I'm a little healthier guy than John.
I may need to stick around.
All right. Hey, Disney, after the bell, what can you tell us?
Well, I love that company. I love the stock. I actually bought that stock, for the 5 p.m. guys. We do something called the pitch every week or whatever. And I bought that stock. I like Disney. Obviously, we like Iger. Obviously, everything that was going on with Fox, that's going to be what people are focusing on. But they also should be focusing on the streaming side of it as well, Scott. What we're seeing right now is what coming into it, not a lot of paper in there today, but the October 115s rather, and October 120s, along with September 115s and 120s, that's where the open interest is. So in previous weeks leading up to this earnings report, they have been positioning into those areas all the way out to January 120s as well. So is this stock got some more upside? I actually believe that it does. And because of the acquisition, because of what they're doing in the streaming world, I think this is going to be a very interesting quarter. And if people can look past some of the little hiccups here and there, I think Disney's a $120 stock not long away.
Yeah. Wow, go out on a limb. It's at 117 and change, Pete. Way to stick your neck out there, pal.
See, that's the issue. It's like $3. Are you going to put all that risk on the table for $3?
Hey, man, but
we'll put that in the bold call category.
It was a $100 stock not that long ago.
I hear you. All right, man, we'll see you back here. All right, Pete Najarian for us. Who wants to give me a comment on Disney, what they think?
I'll be honest with you. I sold it, Scott. And interestingly enough, we actually do have a 130 price target on it at Loop Capital, and it has the potential to go there at this point. However, for me personally, again, given where I bought it, where the stock is, and I literally probably had to take antacids constantly just with the ebbs and flows of Disney over the past couple of years. The bottom line is, for $3, Pete, if he was still on there, I'm just not sitting through earnings right now. If there is a slight hiccup, right, a slight hiccup with what comes out of ESPN. They're not going to guide much on the streaming component, I don't think. They can't talk too much about Sky because they really don't know what happens. And so if there is a slight dip, I may go back in. I think it's an incredible name to sit and put in your back pocket for a really long time. But again, better places to leverage the capital at this point. But incredible name, incredible brand, and the cult following that it has will likely continue. But if it gets out of favor, where do you go from there?
Free cash flow yield of 6%, 16 times earnings, probably on depressed earnings. I actually covered. I mean, I'm flat on the name relative to my benchmark, so I don't have a position either way. But I didn't want to be short, quote unquote, short this stock, because I do think that there's a lot of promise potential going forward. And I think that Comcast and Charter basically told you that cable subs, that problem has gotten no worse. In fact, Charter actually beat expectations. Comcast came in no worse than expected. So I think that ESPN expectations are high for sure, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as bad. If it is weak, I think we're both going to be buying it.
Can we put up a chart here? 115 was as clear as a bell was the breakout. This has been resistance going back to the fall of 2015. This is now a breakout about 3 years in the making. You will not find a lot of Disney bulls on Wall Street. You won't find them on the buy side or the sell side, which is exactly what you want when a name like this that's been pent up for this long finally makes its move. If you want to be super tactical, wait for a low volume pullback back to that 115 breakout. That's what we call a retest, but you may not get it. And I'm going to tell you something. Conventional wisdom is that Netflix has too much of a head start for anyone to catch them on the over-the-top streaming app. To me, that is incorrect. Disney is going to come with every gun they have fully loaded, from Marvel to Star Wars to sports, and they are going to blow a hole in the side of anyone making that argument. It's too soon. We haven't seen the app. We don't know what's going to be in it. But to bet against the brands and franchises that this company has, I think the bet this far in advance is not going to work. I think it's pretty stupid.
Well, the bet's not going to work that far in advance. But like you said, it's a long-term play, Josh, at the end of the day. You have to really believe in the strategy, which, again, Bob Iger, incredible leadership.
All right, so let me rephrase. I agree. Let me rephrase this a different way. 60 years, 70 years, this company has been forced to figure out each new medium as it came. Black and white movies, color, 3D, amusement parks, TV, one after another, animated, computer animated. Tell me where they have not figured this out. So I don't believe that they'll fail in the streaming app. They've not failed in any one of these transferences from one form of media to the next. They will get this one right. They may not get it right in day one.
But Josh,
they may not have huge sub numbers.
Who said that?
I think a lot of people think that Netflix has too much of a lead and that there's too much competition. I think that Disney is going to take the form of that too much competition.
You get the doldrums of August. You brought up something. You get that low volume, get a little bit of volatility in some of these names. Be able to get in there again if it happens to you see something at earnings. And I think you do get it at a lower price.
Do you know only 43% of the sell side have buys on this thing?
Yeah. At 125, they'll all be buys.
There's a lot of skeptics on this still, even buy and sell side.